Hey everyone, welcome back to Voices from the Mausoleum, where we're talking Chucky Season 3. We're doing a 2-episode recap today.
Yeah.
So we're for episode 2, titled Let the Right One In, right? The gang is off to DC with their guardian. I always forget her name. Mrs. Whatever. Was it like Jenny or something, or no?
It's something really simple to, yeah.
It's like I should not be forgetting this but she does not last long anyway.
No.
So we got
doesn't.
2 deaths in this one. So are we getting more kills per episode now? I almost feel like we're getting.
I think so, right?
We they're really ramping up the body count this season.
Yeah.
Because I remember season 1 sort of very much being like maybe we get like 1 kill an episode or something, and that would be sort of like the centerpiece death. But I feel like we're getting a lot of deaths or even murder sequences. There was some dream sequences, well, in episode 3, but we lost their new guardian, and we lost the secretary to the president.
She was so sweet.
Yeah, she was really sweet.
She seemed so nice,
but her death was so good.
It was so wild though, wasn't it? He was like, that was so cool or awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. It's like partial decapitation in the Oval Office. So she like literally bled out on now I want to say like that. So I'm gonna say, because I know there's rules about having like the seal, like the United States seal, like
it has to be altered, right?
It has to be altered. But can you imagine it's just like a bloodstained, seal? It's wild. But anyway, so the story is, so the gang is in DC. Lexi's sort of right. She's trying to seduce the oldest son,
Grant.
Grant, because he's big on TikTok, what have you. All of them are big TikTok people. All of a sudden,
yeah, apparently.
But we get a lot of like character development with the first family in this episode, particularly with Grant. And you text me, he was like, this poor kid's so lonely.
I know.
He has no friends at school. Everyone thinks he's like a weirdo. So he projects like this persona of like, I'm the president's son. I'm so cool. And like, he just wants friends.
Yeah, I that was so crazy. Like, okay, because we didn't get to see anything really with him. And like we talked in the last one about how like I loved that he wasn't like a jerk brother. Like I love that he was genuinely care for his little brother, and like, and they've suffered a loss of their other sibling, and like they're very close, and he does genuinely seem to care about him, which I think is great. I hate when they automatically make the teenagers like garbage siblings. I hate that.
Yeah.
So but this time it was like he goes to school and that guy flicks him off, and it was like this, like I felt like I was feeling what he felt. I was like, well, like where did that come from? And then he sits down by himself, and you're just kind of like, oh, he's not really how he acts. Okay. And then he gets to meet Lexi and Devin and Jake, and he's like trying to whatever it, and it was so sad. Like
the quickest coffee date in the world. I feel like they were there. They had
there for 5 minutes.
They were there. They were like, we got to go. They had like one sip and maybe a bite of like the smorgasbord that he got from the cafe for them. But I mean, Lexi, pretty smart, sort of like the smart plan that she has of like, only you can help me and my sister. And I was like, okay. That was, it made sense. And it's sort of like his desperation to make friends was like made it make sense that he would hop on this opportunity.
Yeah. Well, he tells his mom that they made him feel normal.
Yeah.
Because like they've been through so much loss and grief, and it's like no one understands him, because not only is he in the spotlight as the president's son, but he also lost a sibling.
Yeah.
And then there was the most recent death that he knows about, at least, with Teddy killing himself. In the younger one's room. And so it's like, he tells his mom, he's like, these people have been through a lot. Like they feel real. No one at school is real. Like, and I was like, yeah, that's gotta be because, Lexi, Jake, and Devin are in the spotlight. They had to deal with all of that, with all the murders at Hackensack and like all these things. And so he just finally felt like he found people he like vibed with, which also low key made me feel bad because then I'm like, oh no, like, is Lexi going to end up actually like having feelings for him at some point and like it does turn into more and they're going to do that Disney route where like the secret comes out and then it's like, oh, how could you? Like, I don't know how that's going to go, but it made
Yeah.
me sad that he's technically being deceived. That made me feel kind of sad.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, right, it's going to definitely cause tension in whatever relationship, friendship, whatever they have.
Mhm.
But my fear for him, right, is that like Chucky's going to sort of do what he's doing to these kids and isolating them, right? Like any support system that they have, he takes out, you know?
Yeah.
But it really is touching in that, right? So that's sort of like they get me. There was that funny moment in the cafe. He's like, "Oh, you guys are from Hackensack? That must have been so." I think he says like that must have been so real or so like.
And they're like,
They're like, "What?"
but for us as viewers, we're like, because
Yeah,
you like get what he means,
yeah.
and because he doesn't mean to say that. I don't think it just kind of like comes out.
Comes out condescending, but he doesn't mean it that way.
He doesn't mean it that way, and it really just means that like he hasn't had a normal life in so long,
Yeah,
and he feels isolated because of that. So yeah, I thought that was a really sweet little scene there.
yeah. And then we get like the meeting between their guardian and the first lady,
Hmm.
sort of because she agrees to let them go to this like Halloween party.
Yeah,
So she kind of like checks out the guardian and sort of and I think that's when I think she gets told that the secretary's dead, right? So
yeah,
that's
she
what
gets a message.
she gets the message, so she leaves, leaving the guardian alone. And she gets suffocated with the flag, which was wild.
Yeah, I really thought they were just messing with us. Like I thought he was going to start messing around and we might see him, but then like the first lady was going to come in and he'd like disappear. Like I thought
Mhm.
that's what was going to happen cuz like they just spent the last little bit of this episode and the one but getting us used to this person being there because we also got this really great like unique conversation with her when she and Lexi walk in on Jake and Devin trying to finally have sex for the first time and like
Right.
they've been trying to do this for like a while now and it's just not working out for them. And she has this just really great moment where she's like, seriously though, like if you ever want to talk about anything or if you have
Yeah.
questions, like I'm here. And you feel like this sense of relief for them because she's supporting them on this journey to Washington, like or Washington D.C. She's like into it. She's invested. She cares. She wants to be a part of it. She's an adult that knows the truth. So like,
Yeah.
there's all these things, and you're just like, yay! And then when it happens, I literally was like, no, like I was so disappointed because I really liked
Yeah.
her.
I wanted a little bit more room to breathe with her, I think. I was a little
Yeah,
but I guess I mean maybe it's smart. I mean they got that, that disappointed feeling and I think that probably meant they succeeded in sort of
and
us
making
getting
us care
invested,
about her. Yeah, yeah,
making us care and like what she means to the kids and
yeah.
so but the sex talk was very funny.
Oh, I was dying laughing. He was like, he said some, I forget what Jake says. He says something and he like tries to throw his sweater down and he's like, that was really bad, wasn't it? And Devin's like, yeah. Like they're so insanely awkward, but they've at this stage just accepted that it's going to be awkward because they
Mhm.
haven't done it yet. And it's like this very real teen feeling of like, this is like the first time. And I love when she's like going through the questions and they're like, okay, we can just skip all of that. And she's like, and there's this whole situation about positions with this and that. And Devin's like, we already got that figured out. And Jake's like, we do. He's like, we'll talk about it later.
We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very funny. I mean, because but what I love is sort of like the, just being a same sex relationship in high school and sort of like them sort of getting to have that kind of cliche awkward teen storyline
Conversation. Yeah.
and that conversation, that storyline you don't get to see sort of. I mean, yeah, I mean, we're seeing it in what was Heartbreaker or whatever that show is. Um, right,
Heartstoppers.
Heartstopper. Heartbreaker is a
Yeah.
good song though, but yeah, but then so yeah, we get that moment where she gets killed, and so yeah, but then the first lady, which is the this other crazy element of the story, is that she's like hiding Chucky's like victim,
Murders
yeah,
from her husband.
from her husband, from just everyone,
Everyone.
along with the Secret Service or whoever this person
He is
is.
like a hired detective of some kind. His name
Right.
is Pierce.
Right. He's
He's
not
like
Secret Service technically, right? Because
no, he's
they
like
don't
an
need that.
outside resource, but he's like, don't even call me a name. Like he's like very weird and like kind of over the top. And she's like, we're not doing this. I'm calling the police. And he pulls out that envelope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So because he's like threatening to expose this affair that happened.
Yeah, with the president and some blonde lady.
Some other one. And she's like, whatever. We've dealt with this in private. Like it's not,
Yeah.
But it led to when they put the body in I forgot what he says. He's like, I'm sorry about your antique or something. And they're putting the body in the truck. It reminded me, it was very similar. It wasn't as like sassy, but like an American Horror Story and Coven when Jessica Lange kills. Did you see Coven?
Emma Roberts'
Emma
character.
Roberts. She's like, this Coven doesn't need a new Supreme. It needs a new rug or something. And it
Yeah.
had like that moment.
It's a very like, yeah.
Yeah. I like it. Was a good line.
Yeah.
I was wondering if it was a reference to that. But yeah, I'm trying to remember where the episode ended because we did kind of sort of do it back to back. Was it them getting ready?
He calls Jake,
Mm-hmm.
Lexi, and Devin. And that's where we get the bit from the trailer where he's like, it has really bad like Wi-Fi here for it to be the White House or whatever. And yeah, so now they know that because they think it's her calling and it's not. It's Chucky.
Yeah, they know she's dead now.
Because they know she's dead now.
And so I guess, yeah, I mean, we had that sort of like moment of I guess they were going to get their costumes ready. So they're pretty much getting ready.
They're going to make costumes that have weapons built into them so that they can get through the White House security.
Yeah, I don't know how.
But they can't learn history.
They can't learn history. Yeah, they're smart with what they want to be smart with.
Yeah, it's selective intelligence. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But so I'm very curious. Yeah, I mean, I think is one of them going to be a good guy doll? I almost feel like I remember seeing one of them in a costume that sort of looked like.
I don't remember. I didn't think I had seen anything of what they're going to look like. I think that's
our
next episode.
Clips of the Halloween episode to come.
Yeah.
But I'll be curious. So yeah, so we're kind of ramping up to the Halloween party. But episode 3, Jennifer's Body, is our kind of prequel flashback episode where we get to finally find out really what happened from the moment that the Belle doll turned out to be Chucky and Nika's out there and sort of what that was all about. But 2 words, Kenan Thompson.
Oh my God.
I love that they got him in this episode.
He was perfect. Yes.
I agree. Funny. And what a wild death. So yeah, so Chucky's on the run. So anyway, so I guess we have Tiffany is arrested in the hotel room. She's like, I need my Voodoo for Dummies book. Whatever. She's being whisked off on charges of murder. But as Jennifer Tilly, which is so great. So Jennifer Tilly's on trial. But Nika's kind of watching it all unfold from the side. So she didn't really necessarily get like murderous revenge, but she's sort of seeing it unfold, But we get the trial. They're trying to plead insanity for her because she's telling the truth.
Yeah, she tells them about the soul swapping and I'm really Tiffany Valentine. I took over Jennifer Tilly's body and like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it doesn't work. Then no one's buying this insanity play. No. Doesn't work. It's probably worked in some trials. Not going to work here. But then the sister's still on the run with Chucky. So we were kind of getting this kind of dual sort of trial, and then this like they're running away. And so Chucky, he has a dream where he kills Andy.
Did that mess you up? Like, did that like throw you off?
It threw me up for a second. I was like, is this a dream? Because something felt off about the dialogue when he was on the phone. It felt
too happy.
It felt too like everything's great and everything's wonderful.
See, and I thought it was like that because he really knew that Chucky was there and it was all fake and he was going to get him. Then when he started like stabbing him in the face, I was like, they did not just bring him back for this part just to kill him off. That cannot happen.
Well, I was genuinely disappointed. I was like, this isn't how they're gonna, because Andy would be prepared. Like,
Yeah.
But it was
Mm-mm.
brutal. The knife to the face, like it was.
I was like, well, definitely he's not living through that.
No, no, no. I mean, but it turns out that he's dreaming, right? And he finds out he wakes up stressed. Then he's got like crow's feet. He finds out that he's aging.
Yeah.
And sort of so then he ends up going to this, I guess, modern voodoo doctor who's like a literal doctor in an office. It was so weird.
It's like a supernatural doctor because
Yeah,
that one lady, the lady in the waiting room was like, "Oh, you forget one sacrifice, you know?" And then in the
yeah.
box in the guy's lap is his ex, and it sounded like a monster of some kind. So it's a
Hmm.
supernatural doctor of some kind
Right, right.
out of
So
nowhere.
out of nowhere, I don't. They found this doctor. I don't know. We should find out. Is it in like the yellow pages? Do those still exist? Quick Google search. I don't know. Is it in the back of the Voodoo for Dummies book?
I don't
Um,
know. If you were going to find a doctor like this, though, 100% it's in the yellow pages. You know,
but it's just so funny just to see him up on like the exam table talking to the doctor.
he does the
But
cough thing. He's like, "Turn your head and cough." You're just
well,
like,
but yeah, but we find out that like this is supposedly his last vessel
Mhm.
because he was involved in an exorcism. So he has this like Christian virus in him that sort of cut off his connection to a Dombal.
Mhm.
Dombal, right?
I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So now
The
he has
deity in which he gets his
that's how he
powers.
gets his
Yeah.
powers, right?
Mhm.
So now he has to sort of plead with Dombal and
Yeah,
sort of
get back in his favor.
get back in his favor, do a new like he has somebody that has to make 6 sacrifices, or the number 6 is involved somehow,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
I'm guessing 666, but so so awesome. Him and I now what's the sister's name?
Caroline.
Caroline. Thank you. They end up in
I
Amity.
don't know how I'm remembering everyone's names. I'm doing very good.
No, I thank you because I am horrible. um, they end up in Amityville, New York. They're at the Amityville Horror House, which is so cool. I mean, I knew right away from the circular windows, which I sent you a new picture of the house. They don't look like that anymore. Uh,
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so, because like I think I told you, idiots like me have
Like,
go to the house and just kind of like gawk at it.
yeah.
Um, that's hey, when you're 17 on Long Island, you have nothing to do, you just swing by Amityville.
Why not? Yeah.
Sorry to the owners of the house. But yeah, so they go, there's a party going on, and then he's like, all right, I got 6, you got 2 for you, Caroline, or whatever it was, and they kill all these people. They try to work on the spell, doesn't
Still
work.
nothing.
Nothing. They're thinking the evil of the house would somehow help. But you said you really liked the one line in the house.
Oh yeah. He's like she doesn't, so Caroline is very obviously very young. Like she has no point of reference for Amityville. She doesn't know what that is. And so he references he says something about Ron. He calls him Ron DeFeo. And she was like, "Who is that?" And he goes, "Kids today, they don't know their history." And then he goes into this history about Ronnie DeFeo and all the things that happened in the
Yeah.
Amityville house and that kind of thing. But it was just funny because he was just like so disappointed in her for not knowing that this guy killed his entire family in
Yeah,
their
with parents
beds
and
at night.
siblings, yeah.
Um, yeah, so I did think there was a couple of ones. There was another one like that where she said something and he was just like, "Ugh, really?" But I can't remember what the other one was. But that was the one that I thought was funny. Yeah.
Did they use the music from the movie, or they got really close to it because it sounded just like the
It
song?
sounded similar. I don't know if it was the exact same or not, though.
Yeah, it sounded like the theme, like the
They
whole like
could probably get away with that. Like they would probably be able to get that, I
they
think.
probably could afford the rights to
Yeah.
the song. It
Yeah.
sounded just like it.
Mhm.
But the crossover I didn't know we were going to get the season, so that's pretty cool. But then they get this idea of like, what's more evil, right? He has to up his game, and that's where the birth of the White House is involved, right? He sees, I guess, the news about the first family losing their son, the
Mhm.
other sibling, Joseph, and then he just sort of he gets all done up by makeup. Carolyn makes him look young again, and then he just goes to the funeral or goes to the cemetery where
Yeah.
uh, their son finds him. Do you remember his name? Because I don't.
The little son?
Yeah,
Oh, no. Grant and Jeremy?
Jeremy
Something
sounds right.
J.
We'll
I
go with
can't
Jeremy for now.
remember.
Sorry,
This
sorry.
is so because I didn't know going into it. So I remember I was watching this episode and I was thinking, I was like, okay, so like there's two Chuckies. Like I didn't realize until a little bit into it that it was a full on flashback to that original, like how he ended up. Cause I thought we just were
Yeah.
never going to get that. I was like, oh, we'll never learn.
Oh yeah, no, there is just one left.
Yeah.
You know, which is so yeah, we the cult of Chucky is no more for now. And we just have our
Henry.
Hmm?
Henry.
Henry.
Henry and Grant.
All right, won't forget that now. People will be so mad
I
watching
don't know
this.
where I got Jeremy from. I just made that up.
Henry, Jeremy, close and I got the Y at the end. Um
They got an E and an R in them.
but so yeah, so then Jennifer Tilly is convicted, or she's found guilty. Nika has her sort of moment at the end of
Yeah, because she's
like
sentenced to death
she's sentenced to death
by
in
lethal injection.
I don't know what state they're in.
Texas?
Is that where she's being tried in?
I have no idea. She says it though, because she's like, I should have never went there, but that so and so was so annoying. She had it coming. But I can't think of where it was. It's somewhere over there though. It's one of the states that still has it.
I was gonna say because I don't think Jersey has it, and I don't.
No.
And Tilly
It
would
was
be
it was a place that she randomly had traveled to and killed someone.
okay. All right, that makes sense. Because I'm like, yeah, because California wouldn't, and then Jersey
No.
wouldn't. So, but yeah, so she's sentenced to death. And yeah, and everyone sort of is like all
Yay.
happy and yay.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I assumed something was going to happen with it. It's kind of nice seeing there be consequences, though. You know what I mean? Because, like, obviously, I don't want her character to go away. I love the character of Tiffany Valentine so much.
yeah,
so much. But they've gotten away with so much for so long that it feels unrealistic at that point because you're just like, well, somebody would have figured something out, you know. So for there to be like real life consequences, that was kind of a direction I don't think I was really expecting.
Real life consequences, emotional consequences, because Gigi wants nothing to do with her.
Yep.
Nika threw that in her face.
Yep.
You know, she's still trying to get Nika to love her.
I know. Isn't that so great? You know, sometimes she's so good at gaslighting. I like want Nika to love her back. And I'm like, Angel, she like cut off her legs and her arm. Like no.
Oh man, it is.
They're like, why would she? Because they're talking about her taking the blame for Nika's family.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, why would she do that? And Jennifer Tilly, Tiffany stands up and she goes, because I love you. She goes, because you're psychotic. Like, just love her, Nika. God.
Oh man,
Let bygones be bygones.
Nika's like, well, Nika and Tiffany are my favorite characters.
Oh, they're so great. I loved that there was another Jennifer Tilly episode. The Jennifer Tilly episode from season 2 is one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah. Oh man, the whole murder mystery night is so good. It is so good. I'm hoping we get more. Obviously, we're gonna have the Halloween episode next. And then we're going on hiatus. I don't know how long it's going to be on break for. I know it was because of the strikes. But I'm hoping we don't have to wait too long.
Yeah, because I feel like it's going to end with like so many things left unhandled. You know,
it's going to be such a cliffhanger.
Yeah,
for sure. Because like the midway, but it also would be the midway point for the season. So like where we were midway for the other seasons, just to kind of give you an idea, was the midway episode for season 2 was the Jennifer Tilly murder mystery episode.
Okay.
And the midway episode for season 1 was Just Let Go, and that was the falling off the cliffhanger. It was like when it was like I think it was the fire.
Oh,
I think. Yeah, it was just sort of like I think when everyone sort of like Lexi and Devin, I think everyone sort of found out what was happening.
Yeah.
So the big turning points, these were big moments for those seasons. So I feel like the midway episodes tend to be real big swings forward. So it's going to be, you're right, it's going to be a cliffhanger for sure.
That's okay though.
Leave us wanting more.
Yeah, this is such a fun show. It's so silly and over the top. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I sat on it as long as I did, but I'm glad that I jumped on when I did because it literally set me up ready to do season three. Because I literally finished season two, like a week or two before this
Yeah,
came out. And so it worked out because I really, it's just so fun. I really
it
like it a
is
lot.
really fun, and it's like it's so great to just see that, like, of all the horror franchises, who would have guessed that this one would have been the one that's like the most consistent, sticks with its lore, stays like good,
Hmm.
right? Who would have thought?
Yeah, because the first one came out in 88.
88, I think. Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, the year I was born. I think that's the only reason I ever remember it. You know how like everyone's always like, what horror movie came out the year you were born? It's always Child's Play. I
Okay.
always remember that being the one. So
I think
yes, I
two
mean it's
came
been
out the year
around
I
for
was
so
born.
long.
I think two was in 90.
Mhm.
I also get Misery is my year.
Oh,
Yeah. There were a couple of good ones.
there's some other good ones for 88 too, but this is the one that I always go to. I always remember.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's our recap for Chucky season 3, episodes 2 and 3. Check us out next week for the mid-season finale. Yeah. See you next time.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers. I don't know why fingers. I don't know why I did that. I was like, ah.
Just
I, guess,
cross everything.
I think I just do this when I'm excited. I'm like, ah. All right. Clearly, I'm tired. See y'all next time.